hanging about with us, maybe checking out the show, looking at pre-live, or maybe you're watching WWDC. Well, I did for a little bit, just to see what was coming to the iPhone. Um,
Ah,
but Daniel, we just started an interesting discussion that we thought would bring to our pre-live chat.
that's right.
What was it
And it's
about?
all about, well, it's about images, and it's
Hmm.
about how images are handled um, in when we're creating pages in SharePoint,
Mm.
SharePoint Online, modern pages. How the header, when you're creating a page, you can make the header show an image and then pick an image. So we were talking about is the is it best to tell us what the dimensions should be so that we're not
Mm.
having to zoom pick where we're going to do whatever, or is it better to um, my idea was that if I select an image for that header on a SharePoint
Mm-hmm.
page, if I want to zoom out, right? Like I don't want you to, how everyone knows this. If you've done a SharePoint modern page, you know what I'm talking about. It generally doesn't pick where you want it to be, and it won't let you select, a good spot. Like if you pick a stock image or something. So what I would like is if it zoomed out and then creates sidebars or something, like a background behind it. I don't know what there's a term for that when you're doing images and
Mm.
an overlay or I don't know. Anyway,
Well, it's like the social
of,
images that it centers the whatever the image is, and it does a blowed up, blurred version in the background.
yeah, and I'm thinking you could put like the theme color as the background color, or one of the lighter colors, like the white or gray, that you get with
Mm.
SharePoint theme colors, and just like I want to show the whole image sometimes. So let me show the whole image no matter what dimension it is, because as a user, you know, if someone says, well, it needs to be, 240/83 by 204,
Mm.
am I going to know what in the world that is?
Probably not. G'day, Daniel. Daniel Anderson, that is. And he'd be familiar with this challenge too. Putting images in a modern SharePoint page. I think that it should just come through in the quality that it looks great on when I full screen the image on my machine. Why does it have to munge it and make it all kind of digitized like it's the 1980s, 16-bit, whatever? If these things look great on my screen, if I'm previewing the image, I've taken a photo on my phone, I've synchronized it with OneDrive or whatever, and here it is. Why doesn't it look good as a header image? I know that we need to pick that focal point. That's what you're talking about. Hey, you pick a point where if the screen size changes, it will always keep that center. We pick that, but the image quality, why? Why is it so meh?
Yeah.
Tell me, painful. Yes, yes, Sandy, correct. So handy, Sandy, Daniel. Well, anyway,
Anyway,
that's. I mean, this is not soapbox time. This is just we're wondering. It's surely been a
yeah.
challenge for many people. There's a page on the guidance of how big your images should be, and it's more about ratio than pixels. I remember Tracy of Underscafe doing a good roundup of that too, but it's still a challenge, and we shouldn't have to think about it. We should be able to just take a cool photo of taken on my iPhone or my Android or whatever, and it looks good, right? Right.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an improvement maybe, but but it's not. It's like an improvement of handling the image, but it's not. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I would like for it to be a little more friendlier, so so content creators can just move on and not have to deal with that.
Speaking of moving on, welcome to the 365 Message Center Show, where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, stay informed, and wish for things to be better.
I wish for things to be better, like in general,
Yeah,
across.
yeah, I know that's a general comment. In the world, in our
Right.
world, in our world of
I guess.
technology and Microsoft 365. Anyway, welcome to those who have joined us early in the chat. A certain Australian who's probably awake at a crazy hour of the time. Sandy, hello. Phil, Ryan, Dolney, hey, welcome. Heidi, roll call, sweet ass, good to have you.
Sweet what?
Sweet ass.
Okay. Yes, everyone, welcome. Welcome
Sheesh.
to our show this week. And we've got a doozy for you. We have, of course, we're going to cover those messages in the message center that we find pertinent and wanted to give some commentary on. But we also have one that wasn't in the message center. In fact, it was squirreled away in a blog post, a Microsoft blog post that got 2 sentences about this feature that I think has the potential of, I think revolutionize is a really strong term here, but for a lot of organizations, it'll actually have a big impact on the way they do quote unquote intranet. So we'll talk about that.
Let's expand on that, because 2 sentences was not enough. We'll probably see a message eventually, won't we, Daniel?
I would hope so, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right.
So, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, like Darrell was saying. And Darrell, how are you? How is the Southern Hemisphere today?
The Southern Hemisphere is great. We all dutifully celebrated the Queen's Jubilee birthday here in New Zealand and marched up and down the street and waved British flag. No, we didn't.
I was about to say, wow, you are a good subject. The Queen's subject if you did all that.
Yeah. No. I mean, definitely congratulations, because it's the longest reigning English monarch in history, well eclipsing Victoria. Not that I know my stats or anything. I'm not a follower of royal history.
You're a
so
subject.
Much.
You are a royal subject, and you know all the things about
I pledge my allegiance to the Union Jack, and for what? No, completely different.
Do you?
No.
Wow.
I
do not. I am not a subject of the Queen. Happy Jubilee to her, but that's not what people came here for. What people came here for is really to learn things and learn how they may need to keep up with change when it revolves around things like doing recordings for speech to text on their mobile phone.
Very smooth. Very smooth. That is our first message, everyone. And it's something that has been with us for a little while on Android, now on iOS. I find this interesting that we see more messages coming out which combine something that's been with us for a while and something that's now available on the other platform. Capture voice recordings with a live speech to text in Office Mobile on iOS and Android. MC387683. I believe it was with Android for quite some time now. It's on iOS as well. I use the Office Mobile app. I used to use all the individual ones. Like you get a new phone and you install Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and of course you've got Outlook, and it was an individual thing. And then they brought out this combined app that brings it all together. And it does a number of other things. It has Office Lens. It has different templates have been able to go in. And it's got a really nice homepage to show you all the current or most recent documents you've been working on. And what's been built into that is voice notes, being able to record simple voice memos. It is live speech to text, which, Daniel, sometimes I think, why bother if I use the inbuilt live speech to text that's actually in the device? But having a closer look at this, let's just have a quick look. Not that one, this one here. This is the blog post that's referenced at the bottom of the post. And it's, from last year when it was released in the Office app, and you add a new document or new thing, new type, and there's a voice memo option. And you can rattle off whatever you're saying, record, la-di-da-di-da. You can then capture that as a note card. You can see how long it is, when it was captured. Hopefully you can rename it as well. It gets saved to your OneDrive. Apparently when you play it back, it'll also highlight the words as you are speaking them out, so you can follow along. And yeah, it could be kind of useful. It's something I used to record voice memos into OneNote, but I might try this. Oh yeah, there we go. We can rename recordings. Edit the transcribed text. So you take the transcribed text and put it into another Office application or different application. Would you use this, Daniel?
I'd have to see if it's better than using the phone itself. You know, what is it that I'm going to get more than just using the phone's ability to do this? And that's going to be the key for me. I'll try it out to test it out to see what do I get from it.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably what most people do, because it's going to be a little bit of a change, right? Because I do use speech to text on my phone, not all the time, but a lot, enough to care about this. And it is something that you're going to have to change instead of hitting that button. You know, for those on the audio podcast, I'm using my imaginary phone that I'm holding in my hand and showing I'm hitting the button to do the speech to text that is native to my phone, and then you're going to have to click another button in the Office app to do it. So I don't know. You know, we're going to have to. It's going to be a change for sure, and is it going to be worth it? I don't know.
And hot off the press, WWDC talked about an improvement to transcription and voice to text, and that what we currently have on an iPhone is you'll hit the button to transcribe, and you get a little waveform, and it blips and beeps to show that it's capturing your text, and it makes it appear in whatever text box you're using. But now it will also display the keyboard, so that if you need to just quickly correct what it's just done, you can. So there's conveniences like that which make you wonder, do I use something like this? We'll see. We'll see.
We'll have to test it out to see on the iOS if it's worth it.
Available now. I mean, I could do a live demo, but we just don't have time. We don't have time.
Yeah. Let's do not have time.
No.
Because we want to talk about home.
Yeah. The home thing that is not a message in the message center, but we think it's important enough to bring it home.
Well, bring it home. So this is a topic, and we're calling it Support Multiple Home Sites and Multilingual Dashboards in Microsoft Viva Connections. And this
what's the MC number, Daniel?
There isn't one, as we were talking about. This is something that I have active projects right now. I have clients right now that this would greatly benefit. What is this? The connotation, or it's alluding to having multiple home sites that could be used in Viva Connections that would represent your users differently. Meaning, you could have a home site for a specific group of people and another home site for another group of people. In my case, and probably a lot of cases out there, things like subsidiaries, or parent company, they own the tenant and they have already rolled out a home site and it's for them, but then they have another one of their companies they own that's using the same tenant, right? But how do they have their own intranet? And how do they use Viva Connections? Right now, either you work together and make it work for both, or you don't, right? So in this blog post, and this blog post was not about this. It was specifically really calling out for manufacturer workers, frontline type workers as well, to talking about some tools. And one of those tools is this. And it gets 2 sentences in this blog post. There were rumors, and I heard things about, would this be possible? And here we have these 2 sentences saying it's coming. Now, we have no timeline. We have no indication of when it's coming. But, it doesn't have to be a parent company. It could be divisions. It could be, you could do it for geography, an intranet for
Regions,
North
yeah.
America, and an intranet for Europe, and one for EMEA. I mean, you can do this in different ways. An intranet for your manufacturing side, and an intranet for your office side, or whatever. This could be really used in a lot of different ways. So, yeah. And Phil in the chat says, cue the Oprah Winfrey meme. You get an intranet, and you get an intranet, and you get an intranet. So now there's not a whole lot of detail here, right, Darrell, about how this will be implemented. From an admin perspective, I'm thinking, does this mean multiple Viva connections? Does this mean targeting? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, this is it, right? It says multiple home sites, and today Viva Connections is a home site. It's a dashboard. It's a news feed, a company feed, and it's a set of resources, your global navigation. And our hope is that, like you, Daniel, I've got clients that really want this because they want to have different sets of dashboards and home sites for different regions. But we're not sure, just looking at this, do they all actually get a home site? And what does this look like in terms of the app and the app rail? And what does it look like in terms of managing dashboards? Because today, if you have specific needs for different audiences, you end up with 30 to 50 cards sometimes, repeated cards, just because you want it to be treated slightly differently for different audiences. So really something that's we're really waiting with bated breath. When is this going to happen?
Well, and this is what we're left with, left to do, I guess, is really postulate on what is this going to be, because we don't have more information. You could read this in one way. In the first sentence, it's talking about multiple home sites with a single Viva Connections tenant, which I'm not entirely sure. That doesn't really make sense. But then the second part is talking about the dashboard. And so is it really different home sites? I think it is. But then it's talking about different dashboards, or is it modifying one dashboard, just like you said? So we don't have a lot of information, unfortunately, and I hope that we will have one soon that will have more explanation as to what the plan is here. But this is something that I know a lot of organizations will use, even organizations that are not, international or huge. I think there's opportunity here for a lot of organizations to use this to help tailor that experience when needed. So, for sure.
I am going to do something a little risky, Daniel. Just look to see, is this even Viva Connections home? See if it's in the roadmap. I just feel like it's not even there yet. No, probably not. No. So it appeared in a blog post. Yay.
Indeed.
Anyway, back to the messages, because we took a detour.
Well, we took a detour, but let's get back. I want to get back to iOS and Android. Can you do that for me?
I can. However, we're going to combine these messages because the last one was combined. This one, it's separate messages, but it's basically the same thing. This time I'm going to start with iOS instead of Android. How about that? This is your meeting experience on a mobile. Meeting chat bubbles on iOS and Android. You'll see the same message, just slightly different screenshots. But this is MC387034, and the Android message was 387220. So what is it? When we're in a meeting, we on our mobiles, and we receive a chat, what happens? We can see that there's a little red dot, and you tap on the chat thing. You can go over and see that your meeting moves off to the side. You're now focused on chat. Actually, last week we covered that on iPads. We'll now have a chat bar, and we won't be moved away from the meeting content. But what comes to iOS and Android are chat bubbles. So they'll be below the content, unlike our desktop experience where it's at the top, and the bubbles will appear, and you'll see the first, what is that, like 150, 160 characters of the chat. You'll have a button there where you can say, I don't want to see these anymore during my meeting today. So please tuck them away, thanks. Or you can tap on that message, it'll pop up, it'll open up the chat pane, and then you can read the full message because that's not the full thing. So that is going to be useful to some extent if you're wanting to keep an eye on the content, the people, and also keep an eye out for chats that you might want to engage in. But honestly, Daniel, it's something I'm going to turn off. On a screen of this size, I don't find chat bubbles to be very useful. What do you think?
It depends on the case of why are you on the meeting on your mobile? For me, a lot of times it's because I am transitioning between spots. I'm only in listen mode because maybe I'm not presenting and I know the material, and I'm just there for support or whatever it is. So it depends, right, on the use case. The second thing I was thinking about this is we as chatters, the chatty bunch, we as chatters need to realize that this is happening and make sure that we don't put a lot of fluff in those first two lines of what we're saying in chat. Yeah. Because frankly, it won't be known unless I, as a user on mobile, click on that to open up chat to read the rest of it. So, pardon me, but get to the point. When you're on chat, get to the point. Don't give a lot of fluff, or if you do, get to the point and then add your comments after that, right? Ask the question or make the comment and then, put more supporting material or something. It might need to change the way we chat is all. That's what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, and I think sometimes chat also becomes something of a distraction, both for people in the meeting, but also the presenter, having to wade through the smart comments, the puns, the dad jokes, all that sort of stuff to get to the actual content that people have questions about.
So that's what you do in chat. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But so when is this coming? Begins rolling out mid-June, expect to be complete late June. That's for iOS. Is it the same dates on Android? Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
I say maybe because, man, even some of the stuff we covered last week has already been updated with new timelines. So, this has become, pretty regular. Hopefully, I guess is the way.
They have a plan for it, right? They have a plan for it, and they probably share that plan with their team.
Yeah. Haha.
It's one of my better segues. Come on.
I love it.
Did I lose you there?
Next message is planner cards. Now on SharePoint Team Site Activity Feed, MC387641. This is slated for targeted release begin early June, so now. And completed rollout late June, and then standard will be late June through early July. And this is when your team site is connected, it has a plan, right, in Planner. Then when you will be able to see in your site activity feed. Now, when you create a team site, you'll notice that's at the bottom, or toward the bottom section shows you activity on the site. So when documents are edited, when pages are created, things like that. What will be added in that activity feed is plans, or on your plans, those cards for tasks that you're assigned that are coming up within the next couple days. So you'll start seeing those in the activity. Now, here's my thing with this. I like it. I like surfacing that information to remind you, hey, this is coming. However, it would be interesting to understand from our audience, from those that listen to this after we're live, watch the recording, hear the audio, please send us some comments, put it in the comments on the video, whether you're in LinkedIn or you are in YouTube. Send us a social message on Twitter, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, at 365MCS. I'd like to know, do you pay attention at all to the activity feed on team sites? I'm not talking about communication sites. I'm not talking about your intranet. I'm not talking about your, that my section that you've added to your vertical section on your page. I am talking about the activity feed, as Darrell's showing on the video here, on your team site. Do you pay attention to that? I have a feeling that it has become something that people do not pay attention to. And it is one of those things that may even get removed from team sites. Just like if you'll remember back in the classic team site days, we had that section at the top that was automatically put there about customizing your site and, adjust your theme and all that. And that was the first thing to get removed, right? I'm not saying this is the first thing to get removed, but is it something that is not as useful? So I'm wondering, I'd love to hear your thoughts, audience. I'd love to see what your thoughts are on this. I like this. It's just, I don't know that maybe we have gotten too used to it being there and it not being that useful. Maybe. I don't know.
The phrase tuning out the noise sort of comes to mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I look at that and I see all sorts of things that are updated. Like even in the screenshot there from the demo, it's random site page.
I was going to mention this. It is terrible. This screenshot. I'm sorry, but they didn't do a great job at this. So Sandy in the chat, she says she usually deletes it because I get it. I would like to make. And I'm not making a political statement here, but this is the thought that came into my head. I would like to make the activity feed great again. I would like for this to become something that is useful and is used. So it'd be interesting to see how people can maybe change this up a little bit and maybe show some screenshots of how maybe you are using this. I don't know.
Well, you said something which maybe wasn't necessarily part of the message, but would make it more relevant, and that is it a task that's assigned to you? Are these documents that you would be interested in, not just random, like let's say Sandy took 50 documents and uploaded them because we're shifting stuff from one project to another. Boom, activity feeds filled with Sandy's migration efforts. Is that interesting? Is that relevant? Probably not. That's not a signal I'd want to see. So make it relevant again? Can we make an acronym out of that?
I think it is something that, this is supposed to be relevant to you. So maybe it will be. Maybe that is something that will make this usable, and not just, it's usable now, but make it something actually people will pay attention to rather than I'm just going to ignore that. That part is, not relevant to me. So, Anyway, think, you know what? It would be interesting. You could actually create a poll in a meeting and ask people if they
found it useful.
Yeah.
Maybe like rate that feature.
Yeah.
Right. Smooth. Teams meeting poll. New question type. The rating. MC387036. I admittedly have not used the meeting poll much. Now that I have a new meeting poll type, question type, maybe I will. These questions that we can put partway through a meeting, actually even before a meeting, you can create a poll, add it as a tab to the meeting page, landing page, and ask people, what do you want to cover? Maybe it's like voting on the agenda items or something relevant to that. But this allows you to put a rating in, which I think is going to be quite useful for being able to rate the quality of the meeting, maybe. Would be a nice way to use it.
Yes, absolutely. Did you find this meeting helpful? Did you like this new format that we did this new team meeting with? Did you, rate the quality of the first presentation? I think we're going to use this a lot in our company meetings, where we have presentations that are going on, it would be great to have, and we have multiple presentations. So we talk about a section, we move on to the next agenda item next. Why not put up a poll, rate this. Did you find this helpful? So that you can get feedback, real-time feedback, and then analyze it and then change. And that's, our organization, Career Spark, is all about, making sure that we're making use of the time we have. And, maybe that's...
Was this a valuable meeting for you? I think it could be used in combination with some other insights you might get about meetings and whether you're attending too many of them and whether people are multitasking in them. That you could use something like this to get real feedback to change your meeting culture so that you can choose the right people that should be in the room and maybe pass on asynchronously the information in chat for meetings if they don't need to attend. So Hilda has a good question. Does everyone have the app polls in their tenants? I don't see the app in Teams, only Forms. So it is Forms, isn't it? Or is it called Polls? No, it's called the Polls app, but it's run by Forms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I have a suspicion that it's actually still rolling out. So we've got like a feature that is updated already, but we haven't got the whole feature yet.
Right.
So that rating question, I don't know what you can do to adjust it, but looks like from 1 to 10, ask a question, label the extremes, the whatever it is, and drop that question into the meeting. One other point to note too, it's of course only going to be something you can control if you're a presenter or a meeting owner. And I wasn't clear if this would be displayed to guests in the meeting, people not from your organization. I think that you do, like based on our experience, Daniel, from attending Microsoft meetings, we do see them, but I think it's only because we switch over to their tenant beforehand. Yeah. Anyway, good feature. Nice way to bring some interactivity and get some good feedback about the meeting and the content.
That's great feedback.
Yeah.
So, we all like to do things easier and all in one place. So our last message here today is all about bringing one other thing from SharePoint that we've had to kind of go to the classic view to do some changes up into the modern, the update on the pane here. So it's SharePoint updated site logo management MC388539, and basically bringing under the change the look settings, that pane where you can change, header and footer navigation. This is going to be under the header. You're going to, and under display, you're going to be able to show or change the site logo. Something that I feel like not a lot of people do. And I would really like for people to start doing this more so that things like SharePoint Home, that landing page where you could see your favorited sites and everything, those logos will show up there. And I'm seeing a lot of organizations that are just not using this functionality. So I would really I like that they're bringing it here so it's easy. Hey, go ahead and change it right now. You can do it. I promise. It'll be rolling out early July and completed by mid-July. So you'll be able to update the thumbnail and the regular site logo. Do you change your site logos, Darrell?
Oh, definitely. And even so, site thumbnail and site logo, which we were discussing the difference too. It usually comes up when you're using the extended header layout. And if you scroll down, the header collapses and your thumbnail is what you would see minimized in terms of your logo. It's definitely important for us to give a site its identity rather than what we see often with Teams as well, leaving it as an alphabet soup.
Yeah, indeed. Well, as we wrap up, could you stop? Don't go away yet. One last thing, please. Will you like this episode? Will you hit the thumbs up? Will you like this on YouTube? Will you like it on LinkedIn? Will you like the episode, the podcast, please? And we'd love for you to do that because it helps other people find it in the service. I'd really appreciate that if you would do that. Also, go ahead and give us a share of the episode. Just take the URL, go in the browser on your mobile and your device, whatever you're listening to, copy that URL and paste it into social, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, Insta, and say, hey, I watched this show and so should you. We would greatly appreciate that. I like the comment that Cindy made in there. I always changed my site logos just before deleting the activity web part. Nice. She's so fun. I love Sandy. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. We'd love to hear from you about your thoughts on what we talked about today, and want you to have a fantastic week.
Yeah. See you again. Bye for now.